Is stealing signs actually cheating?
Yeah, it's cheating, but there's always degrees of cheating. I actually don't think that this is it's more interesting than it is a real scandal and a real conspiracy, because Dombrowski is right. It has been going on forever. It's been going on the field. It's been going on in the dugout. It's been going on in the clubhouse, trying to figure out ways to steal signs. I wouldn't go as far as to make light of it in the way that he is. That's an interesting technique, knowing that baseball does have real cheating problems on its hands, specifically with the performance-enhancing drug issue that continues to plague the game. You don't want to say, hey, people are just trying to find an edge and then leave it there. That's the same excuse.
He laughed his way out of this thing. He ha-ha-ha'd and yada, yada, yada.
This is the way that people make light of things. And then when a real cheating scandal happens that you should be concerned about, people will point back to this and say, hey, they tried to say that was no big deal. Now, look, there is no rule against sign stealing. It does happen every day. It happens in every game, probably, that someone is trying to steal signs. Sometimes players want that help. Sometimes they don't. But I don't think that what the Red Sox did is, highly criminal or anything like that. It is a bad look. If anything, if you really want to be sort of cynical about this, you could say this is more good than bad, because it gives the Yankees-Red Sox rivalry an additional shot in the arm going to what could be a postseason matchup with them.
And the Red Sox even went back the other way and said the Yankees were using cameras to do the same thing, which, of course, the Yankees have denied. Now, the sign stealing itself, I mean, is it the technology that makes it cheating? Because it would be like counting cards to me in Vegas if you're actually just spotting the signs and then tipping off your batters.
That's a good analogy. Are you a card counter? Can you?
No, I'm just really smart. That's all.
No, that's good.
Let him tell you all the ways.
The person counting cards would say, what's the problem? And the casino that sets the rules has a huge problem with that. So in this case, I think that it's illegal if you're using electronic communication. They try to tell you not to do that. But we live in a world of Apple Watches. We live in a world of...
Well, we know that now. I mean, I don't know how well they were selling before.
Why are the bullpen phones still on cords then?
Because you can't have electronics. Although you bring up the card counting, and card counting, they say, only gives you a 1% advantage over the house.
But for some people, that's enough, and that's what he's talking about.
But how much of an advantage do you think sign stealing actually gives a team?
Well, if you look at the numbers of what the Red Sox did when they got a guy to second base, which is what people have been focusing on, in the series in Boston, there was about a 200-point difference in their batting average as opposed to the series where they weren't doing it. They went through a series just recently in the past week where they went 0 for 22 with guys on second base. You're not winning many games if you can't get a runner home from second base. In the games they played to start the second half, they beat them. The Red Sox beat the Yankees 3 out of 4, and I think batted .375, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a huge difference if it works and if guys are willing to do it. It's still really hard to hit a major league fastball, but to your point, it might only be a 1% gain in your ability to do it, and that's why some guys might not want it, because if the pitcher decides to throw a curveball instead of a fastball at the last second, now you're really in trouble.
Well, I feel like that's why this is so hard to prove. That's why this particular scandal is so interesting, because there's like electronic evidence. They got caught red-handed, and that's why this is interesting, because you could explain away a lot of the reasons why the Red Sox could have gone 0 for 24 with runners in scoring position, because maybe the opposing team's lineup was hitting their starting pitcher was in a better position. They've had a long drought of guys
in scoring position, not just against the Yankees, but you're right.
You know what is going to be the unforeseen thing here? Tom Verducci wrote about this on SI.com. Games are going to get longer now because they have the monitors behind the clubhouse, which got put there after instant replay was put in effect in 2009, and that's the last thing any of us want is for the games to get longer.
I don't think this by itself makes the games longer. I mean, the problem that baseball has is that they've started allowing electronics anyway because they have the monitors everywhere. They're allowed to use tablets in the dugout. I mean, when did they think that people were going to suddenly be given an opportunity to cheat and not take it? I mean, the history of sports and the history of baseball is if you have the chance to find an edge, you're going to take it. So it was only a matter of time before somebody said, they're letting us use these devices and trying to tell us, wait, don't use that to cheat. That was never going to last very long.